The algebra exam will be on Monday, with the exception of period 8-9, which will be on Tuesday. I'm going to go over every question that you need to know in order to get this question correct. Now, when we're writing a linear equation, it's always per x plus the one-time fee. So, if it's giving us the function, the per is what goes in front of the variable, and the one-time amount is what comes at the end. So, when it asks for what is the flat rate charged by Lily's limousine, well, 500 is the flat rate. When it asks what is the cost per mile, well, again, per is what's in front of the x. It could be $12 per mile. On to the next one. To multiply trinomials, we need to do box method. Being how it is 3 terms by 2 terms, the box is 3 by 2. When I'm doing box method, I'm multiplying. Y times negative 3y is negative 3y squared. Y times negative 1 is negative 1y. 7 times 2y squared is 14y squared. 7 times negative 3y is negative 21y. And 7 times negative 1 is negative 7. Now that I have these, I combine like terms. 2y to the third, I have nothing to combine it with. 14y squared plus negative 3y squared is positive 11y squared. Negative 21y plus negative 1y is negative 22y. And finally, minus 7. Unlike your per x plus the one-time fee, for an exponential function, it's AP1RT. A is always your ending amount or current amount. P is always your initial amount. R is the rate as a decimal. T is your time. In this particular example, it gives us A equals 2500, 1.015 to the power of 3. So, it asks how much money did Casey invest in her account initially. P is the initial value. P is 2500. 2500 initially invested. Next question, what is the interest rate? Well, that's what's being added or subtracted to the 1. Here, this is 1 plus 0.015. So R is 0.015. However, we need to convert that into a percent. To convert that to a percent, I move the decimal 2 places over, and I get 1.5% interest rate. Finally, it says how many years did you keep the money in the account? Well, the years is T. T is 3 years. Well, we have a song to help us remember this. The zeros, or the roots, hit the x-axis. The vertex is the turning point. And the AOS, or the axis of symmetry, cuts the graph in half, and it's always x equals. So the roots hit the x-axis. These are the roots. Positive 1, negative 7. The vertex is the turning point. This is the turning point. Negative 3, negative 25. Finally, the AOS, or axis symmetry, is what cuts the graph in half. And it's always x equals. X equals what? X equals negative 3. The AOS always matches the x-coordinate of the vertex. Sequences. The formula is given to you on the reference sheet, but you have to first determine what type of sequence it is. Being how I'm adding negative 3, this is an arithmetic. If I was multiplying something, it would be geometric. So on the reference sheet, we're given this formula. A sub 1 is the first term, which is 19. N minus 1 is always n minus 1. D is the common difference, which is negative 3. From here, we distribute and combine like terms. I get negative 3n plus 3. When I combine like terms, I get negative 3n plus 22. Now that I have my formula, I can find the 14th term by replacing the n with 14. You can use the calculator if you need to. You get negative 20. Graph anything, just plot it, just type it into the calculator. If it gives you a domain or interval, that's telling us that our table should be between negative 6 and 3. If it did not give us a domain, then we would just go from negative 10 to 10. So I'm going to go to my calculator and I'm going to type that in. My calculator is a little bit different than your calculator, but hopefully you know how to type it in. So I'm going to load up my calculator and I'm going to go to y equals. I'm going to clear this out. I'm going to hit Q. As I get to the cube root, I hit math for 2 cube root of x plus 5. Once again, your calculator will display it differently. I go to my table by hitting second table, and I'm going to only copy down the nice points from, in this case, negative 6 to 3. So, negative 6, negative 2. Negative 5, 0, negative 4, 2. From here, I scroll down. I don't want any of those points. I don't want any of those points. Finally, 3, 4. Everything else in between, I don't need to worry about. I plot the points. Negative 2, 4, 6, negative 2, negative 5, 0, negative 4, 2, and 3, 4. Being how there's a domain or there's an interval, I do not draw arrows. I connect the points, but I do not go past those. F of x equals 2 cubed root x plus 2. Piecewise. I need to make a table for each of them. If there's no interval, which there is not, I'm going to go from negative 10 to 10. Now, being how this function is less than or equal to 0, I go from negative 10, because that's what fits on my graph, all the way to 0. From here, I would go into my calculator to find those values. To save a little bit of time, I am not going to pull up my calculator, but this is going to give me negative 14, this is going to give me negative 12, negative 10, negative 8, negative 6, negative 4, negative 2, 0, 2, 4, 6. Then I'm going to get my table here, and this one's going to begin at 0, and it's going to go to 10. Again, I can go to my calculator to get this table, but to save time right now, I'm just going to list the points for you. This is 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. I plot the points. These points aren't going to fit, so I don't care about them. Negative 8, negative 10, negative 8, negative 10, make the points. Then from here, I'm going to plot the rest of them. Now I go to the table and plot those points. I connect this point, I connect these, I draw arrows because there's no interval, and that's my graph. To evaluate each of these, there's two different ways to do that. To do it algebraically, determine which piece it falls into. 4 is greater than 0, so I'm going to use 6 minus x. 6 minus 4 is 2. Negative 3 is less than or equal to 0, so I'm going to use 2 times negative 3 plus 6, which is 0. Finally, f of 0 is not greater than 0, but it's less than or equal to 0 because of that equals. So I do 2 times 0 plus 6, which is the other way to do that. F of 4, I go to 4 on the x-axis. At 4, the graph is at 2. At negative 3, the graph is at 0. And at 0, the graph is at 6. Step function. Very similar to what we just did with the piecewise. This is saying from 0 to 4, my graph should be at 5. So at 0, I start at 5, and I make a point. It's going to stay at 5 until it gets to 4. It's not equal to 4, so at 4, I'm going to make an open circle, and I draw my step. The next interval drops down to 1. At 1, my graph, my x value of 4 gives me a y value of 1. It's going to be a closed circle because of the equals. So at this point, I drop down to 1. I make a closed circle, and it's going to stay that way until it gets to 8. 8 will have an open circle because there's no equals. Finally, my last interval is going to go down to -3. It's going to have a closed circle because it's got the equals. It doesn't end, so it doesn't have. The range is all the y values. The y values are -3, 1, and 5. Does it have any zeros? Well, remember the roots hit the x-axis. This graph does not hit the x-axis, so no. The graph does not hit the x-axis. Next weekend, Marty wants to attend either Carnival A or Carnival B. Carnival A charges $6 for admission and an additional $1.50 per ride. Keyword per. When I'm writing linear equations, again, it's per x plus the one-time fee. So jumping ahead, it wants us to write A of x to represent the total cost for attending Carnival A. So, for Carnival A, the per is $1.50, and the one-time amount is the $6 admission. For Carnival B, it's $2 per ride, and the one-time amount is $2.50. So I just answered A. B, determine the number of rides Marty can go on such that the total cost of attending each carnival is the same. The same means equal. So I set 150x plus 6 equal to 2x plus 250. From here, I solve the equation. I bring all x to one side. I get 6 equals 0.5x plus 250. I subtract 0.5x. Excuse me. I subtract 250 from both sides. I get 350 equals 0.5x. From here, I divide by 0.5. And I get x equals 7. That's part B. Part C, Marty wants to go on 5 rides. Determine which carnival would have the lower total cost. So I need to do A of 5. I need to do B of 5. So I do 150 times 5 plus 6. I do 2 times 5 plus 250. This one gives me 1350. This one gives me 1250. So which one would be better? Carnival B. And once again, to get these values, you could have just typed them into your calculator. Finally, these questions should be very familiar to you. The first step is to get y by itself. I subtract x from both sides, and I get negative x plus 1. In this one, y is already by itself. So, I type them into the calculator. So I pull up my calculator, I go to y equals, I clear that out, and I'm going to type in each equation. I have negative x squared plus 2x minus 1, and then I have negative x plus 1. Being how I have a parabola in y1, when I go to my table, I want my y1 to be a mirror image. Right now, my top and bottom numbers are not the same. So I'm going to scroll until they are. Now, they are the same. So these are the tables I'm going to copy down. For each of them, the x values go from -2 to 4. For the parabola, I have my values -9, -4, -1, 0, -1, -4, -9. And for my line, I start at 3, and I go 2, 1, 0, -1, -2, -3. From here, I plot the points. -2, -9, -1, -4, 0, -1, 1, 0, 2, -1, 3, -4, 4, -9. There's my parabola. -2, comma 3, -1, 2, 0, 1, 1, 0, 2, -1, 3, -2, 4, -3. There's my line. You can label what we just graphed. This is y equals -x squared plus 2x minus 1. And here I have y equals -x plus 1. Now the answers to the question are where the graph intersects. They intersect here and here at 1, 0, and here at 2, -1. I also know those are the answers because they are in both tables. If you don't see both, you might have to scroll up or down in your calculator to find the second. And what it looks like in the calculator is the y1 and the y2 being the same. Again, if they're not both in this table, you might have to go one up. This obviously is not a solution because these aren't the same. Or you might have to go one down. Again, not a solution because they're the same. And that's it. Study. Practice. You watching this alone is not going to get you to do this question correctly on a test. Now that you have this to refer to, do them. You'll know if you're getting them right or not because you can just check on them. Hope you do well. Hope you practice. Have a good one.